So, thank you for the organizers bringing me here, and it's very interesting that I see so many young people coming here, and this is even not possible in other parts of Europe in many occasions, and it's amazing because I think hemp can open opportunities for Greece, and what you see here is that hemp has an environmental friendly aspects, user-friendly aspects, and it is able to create jobs. And by its environmental friendly, it's a high production of biomass, 4 times more than with wood, and it grows in very different kinds of soils and climates. Contrary to even faster growing bamboo, it is able to grow in very a lot of parts in the world. And it is able to improve the yield of the soil. It requires no herbicides or pesticides, and there's almost no waste. 100% of the plant is usable. It is user-friendly because hemp can be part of our second and third skin with clothing and housing, and this envelope has a big influence on our life quality regarding hygrothermal issues, moisture buffering, and breathability. And it is able to create jobs because of enormous variety of industrial food, health, and care applications. Spain, unfortunately, is the country who didn't make use of the opportunities of hemp, because what you see on this table, and also Mark already showed the more current table, that goes to 2011, but I only want to talk about this peak because Spain, when in a lot of other European countries, hemp got legalized for growing because of the changes of the narcotic law. There were some subsidies, and some countries like Spain used the subsidies to produce a lot of hemp, but without making use of the material. So they just burned it, and later they got penalized by the European Union. So that's when Spain was falling down and was letting to grow hemp. Till in 2006 it was only still 3 hectares. Meanwhile in 2006 Spain was growing the same hemp than whole Europe together, only because of subsidies. I hope this will not happen in Greece, because hemp has very much opportunities, and the subsidies must get used to grow a market and not to solve a temporary problem, what we have with the economic crisis. The hemp stalk is composed by fibers on the outside of the stalk and the hemp buds in the inside of the stalk. It's plus minus a third part fibers and 2/3 parts of woody part, which we can use in construction because this is the cheapest part of the plant. The most expensive part is the fiber, and the fiber has a lot of application, like Mark already told, like the other speakers told. Meanwhile, the stalk, which represents the most part of the plant, and the cheapest one, can be applied in construction where we need big quantities of materials. Here are some fiber materials, what we can apply in construction. These fiber materials are applied in dry construction. We have the felts, what we can use like an acoustic absorption material. And we have the insulating panels, which we can use under the roof or between walls for thermal insulation. And we can also use the loose fiber, for example, to fill holes or to insulate spaces between windows and walls and things like that. Here's one application of the fiber mats of the insulation rolls in the walls or in the roofs. And we can also construct with the textile. Even though it sounds a little bit strange, there are applications. For example, we can work with sacks. These are very simple constructions, very alternative constructions, sorry. Here you see some hemp sacks filled with a mixture of clay and hemp pearls, which you can compact and construct a building. Or you can also make textile shutterings to fill with earth or with sand or with whatever you have by hand. This is an example for rope in construction. This is a kind of thing we made to create shadow in our factory. And we use kilometers of hemp rope to fix these canes together. These canes are growing in Spain in hot climates, and maybe you have them also here in Greece. And they're very useful for construction. And here you see a textile shuttering. This is a kind of shuttering where you just put a filling of hemp mortar between. And this is another textile use of hemp. The biggest part of the hemp, what I already told you, are the herds, and this is also my favorite material because it has many applications. You can make pre-made pieces out of it, you can make mortars out of it, you can combine it with natural binders to make excellent building materials. And you can also make boards of it, what Mark already told, what you see in the left picture below. And this kind of construction was started in France about 20 years ago only. So the hemp construction in Europe is very new still, and we have to learn still a lot about it. And we have to adapt it still a lot on the different climates and on the different circumstances of drying, of humidity. And this is a type of construction you see a lot in North European countries like France and England. You make a wooden framework and you compact a mortar of hemp and lime in a shuttering. And you can make very light and insulating mortars with hemp. With very low thermal conductivities. This is exactly the demand you have in North European countries, but it's not exactly the demand that you have in South European countries. So you can also spray this mortar in a kind of shuttering. And this kind of construction I translated in Spain to a load-bearing construction, because Spain is a country poor in wood. All the wood gets imported from far away, and it has not so much tradition to work with wood. Maybe in Greece you have the same, I don't know yet, but I suppose it's similar, that the wood is it's imported from far away, it's expensive, and you have to save wood. That means in Spain I did the compacted walls, but I designed a mix what is load-bearing. Here you see the same construction. You see that we only use wood in the horizontal areas, not in the vertical areas. And the hemp mortar is strong enough to hold 2 floors. You can even build 3 or 4 or 5 floors with it without any problems. Hemp is a dynamic insulator. Due to the insufficient thermal performance, Spanish buildings are responsible for 40% of national energy consumption, of which heating and cooling represents between 40 and 55%. This envelope must be the first measure of shock to get the conditions of comfort with the lowest possible energy demand. To construct buildings of zero consumption of energy in a short term, which is the goal of European guidelines, it is not enough to invest in renewable energy and has no sense to achieve energy savings with highly impactful materials. Because in the so-called passive house, we often have this kind of non-ecologic materials where we achieve a very low energy consumption with. And these houses take about 48 years till they are carbon neutral. And in these 48 years, you start the first reform. So they never get carbon neutral. So it makes no sense, it makes much more sense to invest in efficient materials with less footprint and form in the application of these. For climate of the south of Europe, we need dynamic insulating materials capable of regulating temperatures by osmosis, that's what the lime does, and thermal inertia, what also the natural binder are able to do. So the hemp in this case is responsible for the low thermal conductivity, and the other materials, the binders, are responsible for the high thermal inertia. That's what protects us from the heat, because we need here in the south more heat protection than cold protection. Here is an example, a detail of a very light hemp mortar. I show this to let you see a little bit the texture of it. Hemp building is a low energy building. For one part, it consists of renewable material, plant material. All materials like hemp, wood, straw, cork, bamboo, and others are renewable materials. And for the other hand, the hemp mortar has to consist of low impact materials, because not all binders are low impact. For example, cement binder is not a low impact binder, but lime binder, unfired clay, or natural gypsums are binders but need much lesser energy in its manufacturing process and reabsorb carbon dioxide like lime, so they are much more natural than cement binders. And the qualities for the users are also quite different. There's a global need to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions. We all know this, and we see this more and more in the mediums. And since the Industrial Revolution, the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere has increased by 30%, and most of this comes from industrial processes, for example, highly processed construction materials of non-renewable sources. And hemp is able to capture carbon dioxide during its growth, and applied in construction helps to avoid or even to reduce greenhouse gases during the whole life cycle of the building. At the same time, natural materials usually last longer than highly processed materials. You see it in all the thicknesses the cement houses have, because the cement houses have a hardness, don't have a hardness increase like lime-based materials. They have a hardness loss, and over 50 years the cement has this kind of curve. It is hardening very quickly in the first 28 days. The curve goes like this, and later it goes slowly down till in 50 years we have a considerable hardness loss. And we have also a lot of other problems involved in these materials, because I can't explain this now exactly because this takes too much time. But maybe any one of you ever saw problems with cement-based buildings, and that's where I'm talking about. With conventional systems, cement blocks, ceramic bricks, shutterings with concrete. In a one-family house, we have emission of 30 to 50 tons carbon dioxide. In a hemp building made with hemp lime walls, we have a carbon-neutral building, because the reabsorption of lime is not 100%, and we need quite a lot of lime to bind the hemp. With the system I propose for Spain, based on clay and hemp, we have a carbon negative value. So these materials is able to sequester carbon, and it's a much more ecological way to build with hemp than the lime construction. The area where I'm placed in Spain, I'm German, but I lived in Spain about 15 years. I was living in North Spain and later in South Spain. And this area paid attention to me because this I found in a book I bought in Amsterdam 20 years ago. And this is an area of Spain, these are photos made by Kurt Hilscher, that was a German in exile in Spain in the years 20, and he made photos all around Spain. And I bought this book in an antiquary, and I visited many places in Spain, but even Spanish people don't know. So this landscape is clay-based. It's mountains out of clay. It's not rocks. And people live in subterranean livings. And these livings have the same temperature all over the year. So you can stay there in winter when it is outside, because this is on 1,000 meter high near Sierra Nevada. And we have very, very, very extreme climates. We have very high differences day-night of temperatures, which can vary easily 20 degrees. And we have very hard winter up to 7 minus 0, some winters even up to 14 minus 0, and we have very hot summers of 40, 45 degrees in the daytime, and 20 degrees lesser in the night. And these constructions were for me a little bit made me think I need to develop something with a smaller wall thickness, because the caves have meters of clay above. I need to develop a material what is able to achieve the same qualities with a smaller wall thickness. And that's why I combined clay and hemp. And it's really true, because together with a bioclimatic design, I can achieve almost exactly the same qualities than the cave building has. In different situations. And it's a material what works acoustically, because we have fibers and we have clay, we have mass, and we have fibers that are chaotically ordered inside the walls. It works very good thermally, and it works very well mechanically. Because for one hand we have the fibers that are resistant to traction, and for the other side we have binders that are resistant to compression. So they complete themselves, the clay and the hemp complete themselves in fire resistance regarding mechanical qualities and regarding acoustical qualities. And both have bioclimatic qualities as well. Here is a picture of our factory. We are placed medium in this area where caves get still restored. Till now, in this case, we take the material. People take out the caves when they restore them, and we use this material what people normally throw away for the winter hemp. And this is the factory where I make the bricks made of hemp and clay. Medium in this area of caves. For one hand, the bricks can get used in cave restoration or in annex buildings on cave buildings, like you see here. This is a cave, but the facade is made out of the bricks that we make out of the plain tent. Here the ready facade. And here you see at the left side for the car, a kind of carport, I don't know how you call it in English, which is made out of the wall with hemp mortar. Here you see the inside of the wall when it is ready. We could make 3 pieces in one day, because hemp is able to absorb a lot of water in short time. So the mortars harden quickly, or they have enough resistance in a few hours to take the shuttering off. And they normally don't stick to the shuttering. It's very interesting, because with other materials you have to wait longer because they glue on the shuttering, but hemp-based material absorbs initially a lot of water, so we can make a lot of segments a day. This is a floor slab in a cave made of hemp mortar. And on top of this floor slab is I placed a gypsum mortar and later gypsum stucco. Hemp is a very nice base for floors, because it's you can walk all over the year without shoes, because it's a warm base for the floor. And acoustically it also has a lot of advantages, because you don't transmit the noises to the floor below, and your neighbors will be satisfied as well. This is another picture of the floors on hemp floor slab. And this is one example of building. You see it's a load-bearing system. I did, together with other specialists in Spain, we developed a new norm for this kind of bricks to make possible to construct with them legally. In the beginning, I had quite a lot of problems to introduce this kind of construction because Spanish builders are used to work with concrete steel pillars and only use bricks to fill out the spaces between. Maybe you construct here the same way, I don't know. But that's the usual construction in Spain, the current construction in Spain. Meanwhile, 50 years ago, everything was load-bearing. So Spanish architects have to get used again on the load-bearing construction. At the same time, they had to get used on a new, completely new material. So it was very difficult to introduce this in the market, but once it was working, a lot of architects came and got interest in it, and now all kinds of architects are able to build with this material. These are photos of the walls, sections of the walls. This is a floor slab, so you cannot only build the walls out of hemp, you can also use it for the floor slabs. So the whole involving of the building can be out of the same material, which makes it also very easily recyclable, maybe in 100, 200 or 300 years. For future generations, it will be very easy to recycle this building because everything is out of the same material. Here is a plaster. You see a plaster on a wall heating on the west side of the building. We only made heatings in the most unfavorable parts of the building for support in winter. And here you see the hemp on the floor, on the roof, the hemp mix with hemp chips and lime in this case. This is the ready house. It's a house in the south of Spain, where this flat roof is obligatory, and it has a clay-based finishing on the top, which is the traditional architecture of this area. This is a house in North Spain, made by another architect. It's not made by me, but as you see, other architects are able to make with these bricks houses as well. So this is even a house of 2 or 3 floors. The base floor is of stone, which is traditional in the north of Spain, and on the inside of the stone wall you have Cannabric, and the first and second floor is Cannabric as well. This is a house in Ibiza. It's an island in Balearic. It's an island in Spain, I think everybody knows. This is a holiday house. Has also a floor slab of hemp on a floor heating. These holidays apartments, you can have a look at my website. You can see several holiday apartments in Spain made of our materials, where you can also stay when you want and experimentize the qualities of the materials. This is also a house in the north of Spain. This is the inside of the same. Some walls they let the bricks to see. And this is a house in a very cold area, which I visited in January, and they didn't need the heating. They spent too much money on heating, and at the end they even didn't need it because this house has a bioclimatic design, and it captures the sun in winter and it let it outside in summer. So the floors, which are made of, the floors in this house are made of hempcrete, absorb this heat in winter and slowly give it to the atmosphere. So this floor works like captures energy, captures sun energy, and this is a heating what is gratis, for nothing. This house has a gypsum render inside, and it's completely Cannabric walls, and has also a gypsum render outside, what you could see. No, I can't go back, but it's a special gypsum. We have in Spain some gypsums that are able to use on the outside because these gypsum are hydraulic. And they are traditionally made, and some areas of Spain are completely made, all the houses out of gypsum, hydraulic gypsums. This is a Cannabric holiday apartment in South Spain at the coast that is protected, in a protected area. This you can also visit. I was sleeping there sometimes for holidays, and it's very nice atmosphere. It's also completely made with hemp walls, hemp floors, and insulating hemp mortars in the roofs. What we actually do, and I like to finish to give, because we are a little bit bad with time, I think. What I actually do to grow, to do something more for the hemp is investigation, because for me it's always important to go on, to grow, to change, not to stay always on the same level. So we do with Granada University in Spain and with Oxford University in England some investigations on pathologies and climate adapted use of different binders and compositions in hemp mortars, and also into the thermal performance and durability of such materials in different circumstances. Hemp construction, I think, has to be adapted on the climate we are in and on the drying conditions, because some parts of the world we have tropical climates, some parts we have rainy climates, some parts we have climates where the mortars, when you compact walls, don't dry quick enough so you can get molds. So all these circumstances we have to adapt ourselves on to make it possible to build in all parts of the world. And that's what we are trying to find out with these investigations. The other thing is spreading the know-how, which saves always time for the countries which have not so much experience in hemp construction yet. So we have two partnerships, one in Australia and one in South Africa, which will produce Cannabric under license with our help, with local material. These are the bricks of Australia, and the South African factory still doesn't work. We are in the process of developing the material for this area. And the other thing is pre-made elements. I am busy now, also because of the crisis, because many people ask me, I can afford a house of hemp, and there are maybe ways to, in adaptation of the economic needs of the European crisis, to find solutions of quicker building and and these are the pre-made pieces or the modular buildings, and this is where I'm trying to find solutions for at the moment with some investors from Switzerland. Because I started in Spain with it, but because of the crisis, the two buildings that we had in mind to build were not being built. So I start now with other people to refresh this idea of modular housing with hemp panels. And I managed already before to make panels of 6 meters high in hemp with natural binders. And the other thing, last thing, is the divulgation and exchange for increasing use of low-impact materials in construction. And the most interesting congress about hemp building is organized by International Hemp Building Association, which is placed in Ireland. And we had now 3 congresses so far. And these congresses bring together people from all over the world talking about hemp building and exchanging information. These congresses are held about 1 time in the year or 1 time in the 1.5 years. And this is a very nice way to get information about building with hemp. These are pictures from the 2nd congress, what they placed in Spain and our factory. And these congresses are visited by about 100 people of 4 continents. And this is an opportunity for you to learn more about it. And also hemp building courses, because we organize some hemp building courses, but also other people organize hemp building courses, so you can learn a lot about it.